guys have time to go on and book your cruise? Because my goal is by the end of this fall. It's a week early, Del. It's like it's in February this year.
So yeah, it won't be too close to the end of tax season. We're hoping you guys would love it. Like you would love it so much. We turn to each other throughout the week, like we guys love this. Oh my God, the guys would love this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we could spend this episode you talking us into it. Although you probably wouldn't need to.
Yeah, where to begin?
And first of all, I think we need to start with we are by no means representatives of the 80s cruise. We are not paid advertisers. We have not been asked to promote the cruise in any way. We are simply advocates for an awesome time that's 80s themed. And we happen to have stumbled upon this amazing cruise that we enjoy so much and look forward to every year. So we're not here to, we don't get commission or anything.
Good point, because we will sound like it.
I know, we are not affiliated with, we do not work in any sort of capacity. We just really like getting rowdy on a ship filled with 80s people. So
there's a lot of like-minded people who really enjoy it. And I guess, one of the things we could start with, we do costumes every night. It's, one of the funniest things is a couple of years ago, the hotel, they do a host hotel for the night before, because, when you cruise, you got to go the night before. So travel plans, delays don't, the boat will not wait for you. Mm-hmm. And there was a Comic-Con, something, the Batmobile was there. And, there were a lot of cosplay people from the Batman world and things in the hotel with us. We were walking out and heard some 80s cruise people saying, like, these people are so weird. It's like, you're about to go on a cruise ship and dress in 80s stuff for 7 days. I think it's kind of the exact same thing.
Yeah, you got no room to talk. So
now, did you dress in something different every day?
Oh, every day.
Themes. There's themes every year. And every year there's a theme called Back to the 80s, which is generally the first day that you get on the boat. It's back to the 80s. And so that's really generic, right? You can do something very specific. One year, Caroline was Ariel from Footloose and wore the Dance Your Ass Off shirt and
the red cowboy boots that her dad does not like.
Yes. And, or you can just wear, big bows, or, some people wear specific costumes and some people just wear the fashion of the day. So that's kind of, and I think everybody's getting there. Everyone's so excited to get there, reunite with friends, see the ECP is the company that puts it on. They do an excellent job with the decor of the promenade. And they usually,
I was just going to say, take us through this, like from the beginning. Are people like dressed up as they're getting on the ship already? Yeah.
And we're talking head to toe outfits, people wheeling on 4 50-pound suitcases per person. I don't know how they do it. Like we theme it out. We costume every day, 1+ costumes per day. But we keep it pretty simple compared to some folks on this boat. People ship in things to the boat just because they don't want to travel with their costumes. It's madness. Like
the last night, they don't do anything the last night of the cruise because you got to leave at like 7.
Ready, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They kind of start tearing stuff down. It's really a sad moment,
right?
The second to last night, which is really the last real party night, is they call it Icon Night every year, and that's when you pick something, an icon from the 80s, and what people do. I mean, we've seen full Teen Wolf in the Beavers basketball. I mean, the full Wolf costume. This year, the winners were Bartles and James 4-pack. And it was 4 life-size bottles that people were, and then the carrier. And they had the 2 old men, too.
I mean, so they had like a custom piece produced with PVC pipes and custom printed fabric. It's absolutely insane, the creativity that goes into these costumes. And I mean, it's really impressive. Like, you can't just show up, in a good costume and think you're going to win. Like, you have to really, really get outside the box. And
not great for hearing
Can
and
you see
seeing.
this?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, there
Yeah,
must
a
be
friend
pictures
of ours
online.
did Calgon Take Me Away. That was
So
the best.
she's in a bathtub filled with bottles.
It's just
I
crazy.
forgot about that commercial. Oh my god! Oh, that's so funny. Yeah,
I know. So people they dig deep. There were people who rented 3 scooters, like personalized scooters, and then they brought the makings to do Back to the Future cars. So they did a DeLorean, they did like a spaceship car, and then they did an Old West train and put them on these scooters and drove in tandem in these 3 Back to the Future trilogy. It just, people get absolutely nuts with it.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah.
By the way, have we started?
Yeah, I should like announce people's names as we're talking, because I said, yeah, we're starting this one hot, man.
Well, and this night was a really fun costume. It was probably one of our very favorite costumes of the week. Is we dressed up as Joe and Blair from The Facts of Life. And we get some pretty strong costumes. Claire's sister-in-law sewed the crest from the school on the vests and the ties, and we looked really cute, don't you think, Claire? Do you have a picture?
I mean, that was a pretty good one for us. Like,
it was fun, low key.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah. Oh, that came out so good.
And it was fun because that's very like reflective of our personalities as well. So kind of fit into the role pretty well. But
Did you make that?
It was a fun night.
Yeah, we bought the vests and skirts, and then we found on Etsy the actual Eastman school crest from Facts of Life. So my sister-in-law sewed those on. And then we just bought the blue button-downs, ties, and just,
cute. It was very cute.
That's so awesome.
And this year they did, and then what they'll do is they always do those 2 nights. And then they pepper in a differentiation of themes each year, something different. And there was Dressed as Your Favorite Band this year. We just did we have that rocker costume that we've kind of morphed into like a Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses mix, and we just wore those kind of generically. And they did 80s horror this year.
Oh,
that was really fun.
Yeah. Now, what happens at these? Is it like just like a party, and then is it like a party and a contest and everything? You just hanging out, drinking and talking.
Over that last night. I mean, the horror, they actually took a part of the promenade, the middle part, and they had these long black sheets, and they were like, don't go through there if you're afraid. They did a haunted house in there. If you went through there were people popping out at you and zombies and Jasons and Michael Myers. And we were actually Laurie Strode from Halloween 2. So we wore hospital gowns, and I'll find that one.
I don't know. Are you familiar with Halloween 2? It is oftentimes overlooked, which I'm wildly offended by. Because, I mean, obviously the first Halloween is one of the best scary movies ever, but Halloween 2 is pretty solid.
I like that one a lot. Yeah, the first time I saw it was
where he cut her in the arm, and we had the it was very comfortable.
But the first Halloween is not an 80s movie, you'll remember. It is a 70s movie.
78.
However, Halloween 2 is an 80s movie. So we're sticklers for the decade. We don't fudge,
It's funny because no one knew who we were, but everyone was like, your costumes are amazing. And do you know who we are? And they were like, most people would say no. And then several people were, oh my God, yeah, you're escaped lunatics. Trying to be like, it's not wrong.
But what are you dressed as? Yeah.
I don't want to correct you. Look at what we're wearing. But
no, I do. I do love that movie. Yeah, I agree with you, Caroline.
It's really good. And so then a couple of the other theme nights that were very fun. There was a pajama party night, which I always like. It's just fun. It's easy to go comfortable. And so they had that theme, 6 years ago, Claire, on the very first year. So we were happy to get back there. And I am a big fan of the Care Bears. My name's Caroline. So that was, my mom always called me Care Bear. So I busted out a Care Bears pajama outfit, and Claire was the Muppets. She's a big fan of the Muppets. So had some good costumes for that evening. And then
wasn't there Slumber Party Massacre? You could have combined the two.
Well, we would have done that if they weren't doing horror night, but then I probably confusing to mix the genres there. I don't know what the other costume was.
There's a prom night every year,
but
they try to give it a new vibe each year. Like this year, it was Purple Prom. And Morris Day and the Time was performing that evening. So they played into that. But they've had Punk Rock Prom. Last year was the Decade of Decadence Prom. So fake Dallas, lots of sequins, big shoulder pads, jewels, things like that. But there's always a prom night, but they tweak it a little bit each year. So it's not just the same every year, which is always a fun night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Claire was mentioning the first night, so that back to the 80s night is, and so we got on the boat just wearing, what did we wear that day, Claire? I don't even recall.
I wore the same thing that whole day. I wore that I Heart Friday, but it's not a heart, it's a Jason mask.
Oh, that's
we wore it on Friday, so I just wore that jeans and some custom Vans that I have are all 80s colors and checkerboard.
Well, and I got myself into a bit of a predicament, and unfortunately I dragged Claire in with me. So last year on the cruise, sitting around, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 drinks deep at 3:00 in the afternoon, whatever it may be. And the Love is a Battlefield music video comes on the TV in one of the bars where we're hanging out with our group. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if we did a flash mob of this music video down the promenade? Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh yeah, that's cute. Haha, that'd be funny. And then me hoping that idea would die on the vine, fully expecting it to die on the vine, except we have one member of our 80s crew we call her the Remember Police. And of course, she did not let us forget that little bud of an idea. And so a couple months out, she reaches out, hey guys, when are we going to get on the choreography for this Love is a Battlefield flash mob that we're going to do? So fast forward several months, and we ended up doing a Pat Benatar Love is a Battlefield.
Let me interject that I had said from day one that I was not going to participate in this flash because it's just not my thing. It's just not my type of thing. I support their right to do it.
Their right to flash, of course.
Flash, and I knew it was going to be I was worried it was going to be kind of a bigger thing than any of us would want to do on our first day of the cruise, but it actually turned out to be really, really cool. The first time they did it was pretty amazing and fun for me. I decided, well, I'll produce it. That's what I do for a living.
Oh, there you go. Uh-huh.
I'll participate because also Caroline was, we're on this side thinking, what do you guys, it's always crowded. Where are you going to have enough room to do this? When can we get the music to play? We have to think through this. You can't just hope the song comes on. And so I found the karaoke bar. I had a big, wood dance floor. And I was like, this is the perfect spot for it. Everybody went up to the guy and he's like, yeah, if somebody sings the song, I'll play it. But otherwise I can't just play it without words. I was like, went over to them. I said, who's going to sing? And everybody looked at me with terror in their eyes. And it ended up, you guys, I couldn't carry a tune if it was in a suitcase. And I got up there because my production brain, the show must go on, life, it hit whatever to make the show, you do whatever to get the show on the road. And I stood there and sang that entire song in this voice. Horrible. But I will say, I've heard the video. When people do karaoke and they don't know the words and they're missing, at least I knew the song, know where to sing.
You knew the words. Yep.
So you sold it.
It was it was a 4 of a 10, but I was happy that it wasn't a 1. So
Totally.
and the beauty of it was I could kind of step back and just see me in the video, like go to the back because I didn't want to be ruined there, and then when they came out there, people went crazy. I mean, Caroline threw a drink on the pimp's face.
Yeah, we had a guy, I don't know if you're familiar with the music video, but watch it after
It's
this.
been a while.
There's
Yeah.
a scene in the bar, and of course, like,
You
I'm not
gotta
able to
send
do
them
it.
the video. I'll send you guys the video after this.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty
we had a pimp. I got to throw a drink in his face, and it was a good time. I was happy to have it out of the way, though. So that was a fun little moment to start off the week.
Yeah, when you were saying in the video, I thought it was just gonna be just a dancing part. You did like the whole video.
Well, they did the choreography. They learned.
Right.
We went up and I got a mouse in my pocket. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We went up to the gym.
We had a rehearsal.
For the sail away party,
you
so
did
that they
rehearse.
could all practice because everybody lives in different cities.
Right. Mhm.
So they all sent the choreography, learned it, and then they all went and practiced it for like 30 minutes on the ship before they put their costumes on and everything. It was hysterical.
It
It
was
looked really,
silliness.
it was,
But-
and the outfits were amazing, and it was
That's
really
just an example of the silliness that goes on this boat. And that is like, no one's like, oh, that's weird. People just burst into dance from the music video like that. That's just the shit that happens on this boat, which is why we
Right.
love it so much. And I need to give a shout out to my main man, Huey Lewis,
Yeah.
because he is the reason why we went on this cruise. Because back 8 years ago, of course, I'm very active on Huey Lewis's website, and it was added to his show list that he was going to be on this 80s cruise. Of course, I'd never heard of it. It was the first year they were doing this. Claire and I worked at the same company together, and I ran into her office and I said, oh my God, Claire, there is going to be an 80s cruise. Huey Lewis is headlining. There's a slew of other 80s musicians that are going to be on board. We have to go. And at this point in time, Claire and I, we'd worked together. We'd, exchanged pleasantries. Really what we had in common was love for the 80s, but like we were not thick as thieves by any means. And then Claire, tell them what you said about me after I left your office.
Well, I had two of my employees I was talking to when she came bursting like in and interrupted to tell us all this. And then I was like, okay, all right, well, we'll go. Tell me about it later. Okay. And the only way to get her out was to be like, all right, just tell me about it later. And she walked out and I looked at her and went, no freaking way I'm going on this ship. I'm gonna go on this cruise. They're laughing. We just saw them last night, both the guys, and they're like, can't believe you guys did your 8th cruise. When we were sitting there, you're like, I guarantee there is no chance I'm going on that. And here we are 8 years later.
So we have to give a shout out to Huey Lewis.
Have you guys been on every one of them? And wow, yes.
And we're booked for next year. It's just become a week of fun. We look forward to it during the year when we're on these grueling work trips. We're sweating in a field, disgusting, setting stuff up. It's what keeps us going. Like, we're doing this, man. We're going to be on that 80s cruise.
For us, it generally falls at a good time for our company because we get very busy about end of April and May through September is just backbreaking for us.
Concert season, yeah.
So concert season's that's really what it is. So we're able to kind of get it in before, so that we can both be gone. Now, when we did Valentine crushes, didn't one of you have Sheena Easton on your list?
That would be me.
Yep.
Well, guess who's on the lineup for next year?
Oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me
Only
that.
Sheena Easton. And here's the deal. You get like really great access to a lot of these artists. I mean, you could be bumping into her in the buffet line if you play your cards right, Del. So what we're saying is you got to get off this call and book this cruise.
I have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts going through my head right now, but that's all right. We'll just.
And some of the bigger artists stay more in their areas. They're not there for the whole week. They just board a couple days before their performance and then get off the boat. But a lot of the smaller stars, and Sheena Easton is by no means a smaller star. I mean, she's a powerhouse. But like, she's one that would be on there for 5 days or a week and would be, out and about. meeting people, signing autographs. It really is great. Most of the artists that we've met on the boat are just so welcoming, kind. They're really excited to be there too, because this is the zone for them, right? Like everybody on this boat's fans of what they do and their music. So it's a really great opportunity to hang out with some of the artists.
See, that's
Who
the thing.
else
Like a smaller artist back in the '80s, they're could be like a huge artist for people like us. They could have like one song, but we all know them and love them and everything. And yeah.
Hey, Caroline, who else is on the cruise? You're talking about for next year, right?
Correct. And
2024?
Claire's got it right there. Yeah, Claire, read off the lineup for next year.
I'll drop them like they drop them on us. So Soft Cell is one of them. 38 Special, which they were canceled during the COVID year. So we were pumped to see this. I am over the moon on this one. Air Supply.
Oh, cool.
I love Air
Yes.
Supply.
Yeah, I heard they put on like great shows too.
I saw them at the Ryman in Nashville last summer. And I just love, again, something you may not expect, but I love a good ballad. I am really into the ballads, so I really like them. They were great. Debbie Gibson, meh.
Oh, I was gonna say one of my crushes.
Oh, was she one of your crushes? Okay, well,
not on the official list, but I think the year before. Yeah.
Speaking of crushes on my official list, Sebastian Bach.
And he's on the boat. Yeah.
Sebastian Bach, Rat, Ray Parker Jr., which I think is strong.
Yeah.
I may be the only person that goes like 8 hits deep into knowing his jams, but I really like Ray Parker.
Well, did you ever meet him when did you ever talk to him? No, because he was on your
he was
festival.
And his manager was great, but we mostly worked through his manager and he sent the tape. We didn't get to meet him. However, we ran into Brett Michaels, his solo band guitarist on the boat, and we chatted and he was like, "Oh yeah, remember Radical Sabbatical? That was great. Brett will be so happy you're here." And you hear that and you think, yeah, whatever, right? And he came out, you guys, and he was moving around, and Pete, his guitarist, like got his attention and pointed at Caroline and I, and he gave us, and we were in the front row because we're, complete nerds. And he came over and gave us like the hey, and opened with Look What the Cat Dragged In. And when it came to sing the first chorus of Look What the Cat, he mic'd down to us and we sang.
Wow.
Like top 5 moment in my life.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Through the wedding, usurped.
Last night at dinner was like, yeah, I keep getting chipped down the list. Every time you guys come back from a cruise, I'm like, done.
Sorry, babe. Yeah, pretty excellent. Pretty excellent. Keep going with the lineup.
We still got Wang Chung, and Emotion, Real Life, which.
What are they? Are they?
Send Me an Angel.
It's one.
Send Me an Angel. Yes.
Send Me an Angel. Yeah.
Escape Club. Who doesn't love the Wild Wild West?
I'm a fan of that song. I love that song.
When in Rome, which I don't know anything but that song, but I particularly love
The Promise. Yeah.
That's a great song.
And Marky Ramone, and I've checked Marky Ramone's playlist, and it's all Ramones. So I'm also deep tracks Ramones. I know a ton of them. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That might get my wife there, actually.
That
maybe the selling point. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And then is that the full list, Claire?
Well, there was Midnight Star. So.
I was gonna say that lineup we're thrilled about. However, then they ladder on these great cover bands that really they provide such great entertainment, for the late night parties and things like that. I mean, there's some of the performances we get the most excited about just because they play all the hits that and the energy's so high. So
Jesse's Girl's always awesome for that. Who you saw in Radical Sabbatical, but it's
I've seen them like in person too.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But they had a really good one I enjoyed called Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And they're
what do they say?
They're more hard edge. They did more Motley Crue. They played Enter Sandman, Metallica. They played Guns. They were more on the harder edge, but still, most.
Well, that's why Jam. Yeah, that's
They
I
were
like that.
great though. They were really good. And a couple of them we started seeing around the ship, and they were really good about talking to people and being, that's what's so fun is you meet these bands, and even the
Mhm.
cover bands, it's interesting to hear their stories and how they ended up there. And they in particular, because they're new, they were just so grateful. And everyone that was talking to them, they were just like, I said, we've already told the ECP we'd love to see you again next year. And they're like, oh, we would love to come back. We would love it. So
Now how do they do these concerts? Do you get stuck like you have to pick one or the other, or do they organize it so you're able to see all of them? How does that work?
they're pretty good about scheduling. A lot of bands, they schedule 2 shows, especially like bands that are small. Like they had Vixen this year and
Oh, yeah.
LA
They were
Guns.
great. They were great. You would have really enjoyed the performance.
I liked both of them. I liked LA Guns and Vixen very much. And they each had 2 sets. So if you couldn't make it on Tuesday, then you could go on Wednesday, and they kind of juggle things around. Inevitably, there are some conflicts to like, some of the meet and greets or a trivia game or something. You can't do everything because they have so many activities.
Yeah, they really did.
Try to avoid crossing over the big main, and they have the main theater shows. The Bret Michaels was in there,
Mhm.
but then they have a smaller theater that's usually packed, and then they have a band out at the pool a lot of the time, and a band all over the place. Really, it's really pretty cool. And then in the promenade, they always have a acoustic person playing jams, and they had a Gremlins bar. We could talk about that. So you go down the promenade, and all the shops now are not the watch shop Invictus or whatever it is on the cruise ship. Now it's Tom McCann and Walden Books and everything from the Limited, I think, was on there.
The
Everything.
Gap, it's really cute.
But they had a Gremlins bar that looked like the bar when the Gremlins took over.
Dory's Tavern, you recall Phoebe Cates worked there. It's called Dory's Tavern, and it's an Irish themed bar, but they decked it out so well. It was Christmas attire.
The guy, the one flashing, they had him popping out of Christmas trees. They had one on a ceiling fan.
And they had little Gizmo on a dartboard. Oh my god!
Oh, geez.
It was so well done. And then they did themed cocktails, like Bright Light, was one of the cocktails. So they did a really good job taking over the ship and making it themed in fun ways. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was going to ask if they did stuff like that. Yeah, I'm happy that they do. And what do they have? Like, I was picturing, I don't know how big of a project it would be, but usually they have casinos. So I was wondering if they swap out casinos for arcade games or something. Is there an arcade game section?
They have arcade games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take away our casino, thank goodness.
We're gamblers, so. But they do set up an arcade. They have a lot of arcade games, and they'll set up like Nintendo and things like that. And there is they do one day, and it's like a summer camp day. It's like Color Wars, if you will. And based on your deck number, you're assigned a color. And there are contests throughout the day, like a belly flop contest, a rock climbing contest, Donkey Kong, for instance. So they do fun contests with in the arcade area during that day. It's really, and it's a pretty high trafficked area. A lot of people enjoy that space. We're big fans of trivia. We pretty much attend all the trivia sessions, and I get obnoxiously competitive during them. It's bad. I can't help it though. It's just, I really like trivia, and I know a lot of weird random information about the 80s. So I'm pretty obnoxious about it, but I typically win. I typically win a prize, and I did this year. I won a prize this year. It was a horror trivia, and it was a Beetlejuice question from what are the names of the 2 families in the Beetlejuice? And of course, it's the Dietzes and the Maitlands, duh. And so we won some prizes for that. So
everybody knows that.
I did not know that.
Dead folks, and the Dietz for the new family.
I don't know how you guys feel about Beetlejuice. I said going into the cruise, I'm like, I don't really care for this movie. I don't understand why it's so popular. And then it was on all the time. And then we were watching it out at the pool one day, and I turned to Caroline and I said, this movie's pretty good.
Yeah.
Say a thing. Look at the cast. My goodness. You really need to watch it.
I guess I
from the
never really
beginning.
watched it all the way through or something. I don't know what my problem was, but I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I
Um,
always loved that one. Yeah, yeah.
it's really good. And one they did was it the 40th anniversary of The Outsiders this year. So
Oh.
they did a day where they clear out one of the venues and they do a showing of The Outsiders. And so that was a priority on my list. Claire came a little bit later. She was doing another activity, but I was crying. I weeping during this movie. It's just, and it was there were all the outtakes, like it was the extended version. It was the longer version that Coppola had done. It included like 25 minutes of extra footage. I mean, I get really emotional during the movie. And it's just
this is like, I cry at movies. I'm known to be a crier at movies, which means that a couple tears come down. The same thing happened at a wedding yesterday.
Ugly cry.
When she cries, it is like full on body shaking sobs.
It's bad. It's not
when
good.
Ned Dillon dies, and I'm like, you gotta pull yourself together. This is
absolutely not. I can't do it. I am really touched by dramatic 80s movies. I can't help this. It happens in Baby Boom. I mean, I can't pull myself together. It's just I get too emotional. And I mean, it's such a great movie and I hadn't seen it in a while. And it's, it really takes me back. A great cast, my God.
Yeah.
So that was one of the fun activities that they did, that they do some movie sessions.
If that happens next year, we may have to reenact the scene from Airplane when the lady can't get herself together. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, what a good movie.
Next.
That movie, a hell of a movie. That's one of the movies that's showing at Alamo Drafthouse, Claire, periodically.
That's in my top 5.
It is so funny.
But when you first brought up The Outsiders, I thought you were going to say you had the different rooms have a big gang fight together.
That would be fun. I would be up for that. I mean, I support any of that.
Excuse me though, Paul. This is not a gang fight. This is a rumble. Let's get let's get the words straight.
Oh, that's funny. Such a great movie, man. And talk about one of the best looking casts ever, right? There is no better looking cast that's been together on the silver screen. I think we can all agree upon that, right? I mean, no one can debate this.
It had everybody, yeah.
Just about everybody. Just about everybody. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Your boy Patrick and
my boy Patrick, my boy Tom, a couple of my boys.
Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Rob. It's got Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob Lowe. Matt Dillon was a big deal back then.
Plug for a new stepping out of the 80s very shortly, but bringing in Rob Lowe. Have you guys watched his show Unstable yet?
Oh, I've watched the first episode. So good. Yeah. I mentioned it to Dell. Somebody told me about that.
It's him and his real life son.
His real son. Mm-hmm.
They play father and son, and they are so much alike. I mean,
what is it on? What network?
On Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
I just watched 2 more today. It's really cute. I mean, it's not over the top. It's not blowing any, but it's just really well done. And he's always so good in his quirky characters.
Good. He's a talented guy.
His son is really, and they just did a thing where his son had to imitate something that he does. And it's so spot on. It's really funny. It's just,
Hey, Paul, we need to talk to our people about booking him for this podcast.
There you go.
How would that go?
Yeah, do a little cross promotion with his podcast and ours. But yeah, I saw that
you guys had Rob Lowe on this podcast and it wasn't a day we're on, then I'm just
it's over. It's over.
He's so funny though. He would be great. Yeah.
So how are we doing? You guys envious yet? You wish you could go?
Yeah, but you ready to book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Hey, what cruise line is this, by the way?
I was gonna ask that too.
Not Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean, okay.
Yeah,
it's bounced around.
Different, but
it's bounced around a bit. I think it's been on Holland America, it's been on Celebrity, and it's been on Royal Caribbean. So it's bounced around, but the past several years have been on Royal Caribbean, and sounds like they'll stick with Royal Caribbean. So
I love Royal Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah, no complaints out of us. We really enjoy it. The food's good, the drink's good, the boat's nice. We've always been happy. So
So I know like by the pools, they usually play island music. They play in 80s music, I'm assuming, throughout all the areas. Yeah.
Well, everywhere they play, they have videos on the big screen, which is fun. What were the bands, Caroline, this year? So Bret Michaels obviously was the biggie. Oh, they had Lou Gramm from Foreigner.
Oh yeah.
Hits for days, that guy.
yeah, he was outstanding. Cutting Crew was great.
Nice.
And we're passive fans of Cutting Crew. We know the big songs, but every year they do a little acoustic performance for the alumni, which is the people who've been on 4+ years. They call the newbies freshmen, and then sophomores and juniors. And then they actually have a graduation ceremony every year for the seniors who are graduating. Like, you get a cap and gown and everything. Naturally, Claire and I slept through our graduation on year 4. But so then after your 4th year, on your 5th year, you're an alumni. Okay. So then you get some special perks. Like, you get to go to these smaller performances. So Cutting Crew was the artist this year for the alumni event, and they were great. They really were great.
Outstanding. I just really, because I was kind of like, okay, I just died in your arms. Where is it? They played some great covers, some high energy covers. They just really, I really enjoyed him a lot.
Yeah, I can picture that being really good, like with a small audience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And last year it was the Dire Straits Legacy. So you obviously know Mark Knopfler, but some original members, and then some members, like one of the guys from Yes. But the alumni performance last year was Dire Straits Legacy, and they were phenomenal. So it's one of the elements of the week that we've really enjoyed were those smaller shows.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That's fun.
I think the Smithereens, I really, I didn't really enjoy them. I think of the songs I knew. I don't know if I just knew like one album all the way through, so that like they were doing a smattering. I only ended up knowing a couple songs, but they were good. I just thought I would know more.
You said LA Guns, you mentioned them. Vixen, you mentioned Autograph.
Oh yeah. Turn up the radio.
I mean, if you're gonna have one hit, what a hit to have. So good.
And it's great because
they were
artists like that, they're in the smaller venue, and you can walk into the show towards the end of the set, and you're going to hear a couple songs, then that song, and it's just perfect. It's just great. Tone Loc. They're and out and about, let me tell you that. And it's funny, he's got his songs. They are a little dated. I mean, they reference some topics. They're a bit faux pas today. But on the 80s cruise, everyone is there's no cancel culture there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So Tone Loc was embraced.
I really looked to see if they were going to change some of the
lyrics.
Lyrics.
None of the lyrics. No.
There's some just rough parts, but no, they just went with it, which we respect. He came out too. He just played those 2 songs, and then they made him as kind of like an MC with other bands, and
like Living Color was on the boat, so they would do some collaborations, and they did a nice job of that, because no one wants to hear Tone Loc for 90 minutes, right?
It's 2 songs. That's it. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Howard Jones, I gave Howard Jones a second chance. It's just a little low energy and I love it. It's very rare that I go see it act live, that I love the songs, that I don't love them more when I see them live. And for some reason, this was the second cruise of seeing him, and I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah, it's more like a low key type of thing. And you're hyped up for being on the cruise.
I stuck it out. I loved it.
I stayed. Well, I love the song Everlasting Love.
Yep.
And he had, I don't know, did he have a 75-minute set? And like 40 minutes in, Claire was like, I think I'm going to head. And I was like, I've been here this long. I got to hear Everlasting Love, man. So yeah, agreed. A little lower energy. An artist that a lot of people were wildly excited about that we didn't attend, Devo.
Oh, yeah.
And there were Devo fanatics on the boat. Like,
Mhm.
they're so much more than just Whip It. Oh my
Yep.
God, we need a 90-minute set. They've got so many hits. And I really did try to listen to a lot of their tracks prior to the cruise. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. So sorry,
Yeah,
Devo.
their fans are like super hardcore, the ones that are.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that. The cruise
yeah.
people said they've been trying to get them for years. There were obvious people who were on the cruise for the first time and only because of them,
Mhm.
which surprises me. But more power to it. Again, like
Mhm.
who are we? Just because we say it's just not for us. And same, always say, and this is the same thing we always say when we tell people about the cruise or the 80s or whatever, just find your thing. Find your thing that gets you this excited, that makes you have this much fun. I don't care what it is. If it's Batman stuff, if it's,
NASCAR, whatever it
yeah,
may be.
exactly. Whatever it is, I hope that you find something. I don't expect it to be this. This is a little odd, but we love it. And it's become a bit of a lifestyle. I mean, we have made friends later in life that will be lifelong friends because they all have this same weird obsession. So
Mhm. Yeah, I could totally see that. Oh, I want to go back to Vixen for a second because I have a funny story about
Oh.
that. When
Paul's got a Vixen story. I'm in.
I know. Like I loved the first album. I loved every single song on it. So that when their second one came out, I bought that right away. And inside the cassette, there was like a form to fill out. You send a check to be a member of the fan club. So I ended up like joining it. Like I sent it out, and then maybe like within a week or two after I sent it out, that I got shipped out to the Gulf War that we weren't expecting. So nothing ever came of that.
Oh, you don't know if they wrote you back?
Nope.
Oh, I'm
I
sure
don't
they
know if I
did.
got anything back, but
You're
I'm
yeah.
sure
waiting
they
to hear
did.
from Val Kilmer.
I know, I'm still waiting. I wrote Val Kilmer. He hasn't gotten back to me either. I'm like, really? You had all this downtime with your throat
Yeah.
cancer. Could you not have gotten rude, Val?
Well, I think I was supposed to get some kind of merch or something, and yeah, I don't know what else was gonna. That was like years ago, so yeah.
They sounded great on the cruise, and they were
Mhm.
out and about quite a bit. Like a
Yeah.
lot of our cruise group, they were always getting pictures with them, and they were very excited about that. So,
Yeah, they
I'm
lost.
sure they wrote you back.
Yeah,
Sure.
they lost one of their members. Like I was gonna say recently, but like 15, 20 years ago to me is recently. But yeah, they still release albums and everything. So yeah,
I learned that Edge of a Broken Heart was actually written
yeah.
on a phone call when Richard Marx was in St. Louis in a hotel room.
Oh
I feel
wow.
like we have a little bit of attachment. It is one of my favorite songs. But yeah, he called Fee Waybill from St. Louis where he was touring, and they sat and wrote it that night on the phone. So I'm like, there's a St. Louis connection.
Oh, awesome. Never knew
Yes,
that.
the answer is yes. I did read Richard Marx's biography.
And yes, we did just buy tickets to his show as he's coming through St. Louis in a couple months at the casino. So yes, we have fourth row tickets to his show.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I think he just released an album, I think within the past year or so.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was on the cruise. Was that year one, Claire, that he was on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he put on a great show. A lot of hits you forget about.
Well,
Now,
a
did
lot
you
of
see?
songs he wrote not for himself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
He started as a songwriter for other folks and then managed to get back in there. So
Yeah. Yeah, he's so good. Now, oh, did you see like the MTV VJs where they do what do they do there? Do they like put on a show, or they like in one of
they
the clubs
host
play music?
everything, and they're
Yeah.
always very friendly. They're always good to, see. Last year, Caroline and I were doing hibachi. They had a, hibachi table, and the poor MTV VJs were all there with their wives, and Lori Majewski, who I think is from Sirius XM, and her husband, they put us, because we were two and there's a table of 10, they put us with them.
Oh.
And
Oh, neat.
I'm sure we had been drinking all day and that, but as it turns out, Alan Hunter's wife is doing a fellowship at a university here in St. Louis, and they live 2 miles from my house. So it was just interesting to find that out. And so we saw them and said hello to her. I think he was like, "Oh, you're the crazy hibachi gals." But they added downtown Julie Brown this year, and she is phenomenal.
Delightful, just charismatic and sweet, so kind.
I mean, talk about a
Yeah.
people. She was in the crowds, talking to everyone, genuinely seemed really appreciative to be a part of everything. She was exceptional.
She's great.
Yeah, she seems
booked
like
for
a
next
genuine.
year.
She's booked for next year too.
Yeah, they just booked her. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems like a genuinely nice person.
She
So
really
yeah.
does. She really, and some of the, there's a little bit of like maybe bigger stars than they are, but on that cruise, they get treated like ultimate. I mean, they get chased around and got to have photos and got to, so I get it, but she was never, none of that. She was always lovely.
And something that they do that's really fun is, and Claire and I have never done this, but we probably will next year, is you can go on excursions or have little experiences either with the VJs or with the artists. So like there was a mixology session with Tone Loc, which I was like, I would have signed up for that, but they booked so fast.
Right.
They really do sign up fast, but there was like a tequila tasting with Alan Hunter or Mark Goodwin. I can't recall which one, but and then Julie Brown had maybe a wine tasting or something, but they have those little fun events that you can sign up for. And they're, you pay a little bit of a fee, but they do fun stuff like that. So yeah, it's great. They're great. They're good sports.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Do they have like any like 80s alcohol, like stuff that you don't see around too much anymore?
The first year
our food
they
or
had
drinks?
Tab.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And Bartles and James.
They had Bartles and James and Tab on the first year, but I haven't seen it. Tab really took me back because that only probably crosses the threshold of the 80s. That was very 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my mom drinking the hell out of some Tab.
Okay,
Same here.
I only heard about it. So it was a calorie-free.
It was like the first of the diet colas. Yeah.
So it was a cola. It was a brown cola. Okay, got it. And was it good?
But it was in a hot pink can.
Oh, I remember that.
Very female driven. And it was, oh man, she loved it.
Love it. Oh, I love it.
It was the White Claw sodas.
Yeah. Yeah. I went out on a walk today wearing my Troop Beverly Hills sweatshirt. I got several compliments from strangers. It made me happy. It made me very happy to see that.
Did they have do they have like clothes on the ship too? Like that? Like stuff that you can buy that were.
Oh yeah, they have a big merch store. In fact, the first couple of days they have to rope and stanchion like a line outside and do one in, one out. They changed vendors this year. I think it was better previously, so there's a little bit of hiccup, but that happens. You gotta get the new vendor on their feet. So we go in and crush merch, but this year I think I got a LA Guns shirt and that's about it.
And a lot of times Claire will go in and buy the vinyl because ordinarily they put out a great vinyl display, and
I've gotten really used to that. It bummed me out they didn't have it this year. But I set aside money. See, Dell, you'd be very proud of me. Each year I set aside what I'm going to spend on vinyl on the cruise, and then I'll go in and, it's really fun. And we've had years where we've gone with friends of ours who collect vinyl as well. And we'd see like Survivor. I remember that Survivor Vital Signs album. I was like, I want it.
I love that one. Yeah.
And I was like, you can have the Madonna. I want this. And but
that's a future podcast episode, is how to budget for the cruise. We'll be doing that here in the next few months. So
yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to shout out is the hat that Claire is wearing. And for the listeners, you can't see this, but one thing they do that's really fun, they've done this every year, is they call them pillow gifts. Okay. And I would say it's a 7-night cruise. So what, 4 or 5 days, they leave you a surprise in your room. And there's always a t-shirt party. There's always a t-shirt day. And every year you get a new t-shirt that has the lineup on it. And it's a different color every year. And then there's a t-shirt party by the pool and everybody wears their t-shirts and it's a lot of fun. So there's those gifts every year they call pillow gifts, and it's a hat or a fanny pack or a koozie or a water bottle or sunglasses. So they're really great.
Amazing. They've done a Rubik's Cube before, but one of the sides is the 80s Cruise logo. They've done
lunchbox. They had a lunchbox.
The cocktail shaker was good.
Tote bags. It's really fun. They've done tumblers, like a Tervis type tumbler.
Oh, the backpack. The backpack.
Yeah, backpack. And it's fun. I will have to say, I need to give Claire's sister-in-law a shout out. So several years ago, they give you these shirts every year. And after 4 years, I was like, I'd love to do something with these shirts. I'd like to make like a dress or something out of them. So of course, no seamstress am I. So we looped in Claire's sister-in-law, the same lady who put the patch on our Facts of Life vests. And she whipped up a dress out of these t-shirts. Okay. And so it started out as 4 shirts making this dress, but now we've had to add on each year. You get a new shirt and you have to find some way to incorporate the new shirt. And so like this year, she did some shoulder ties with one of the new shirts. So there are 7 cruises represented on this dress that I wear, and I'm so fun,
so awesome.
So every year it's like
made it on the cruise Instagram page. They're like, look at this woman in this.
It's fun. It's very fun. It's a
Shout
good.
out to Terry made our togas that year too.
Oh, she did make her toga.
We have a seamstress on call for cruise. In fact, this year we did send her the note in February. Like, it's that time of year again. It's a sewing order.
Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, the merch is great. They have a lot of fun things you can buy, of course, which we try not to get out of control, but it's great.
Like Rubik's cubes, like
yeah,
handheld games.
Yeah.
And this year they had a lot of shirts that had sayings that, like, well, they do 80s cruise merchandise, but they had a lot of shirts that were just, Save Ferris shirts and different, because that's a lot of people just wear that. They'll wear concert tees.
That's when you guys come on this cruise next year. Please know that you don't need to dress. You don't need to bust out your Teen Wolf outfit. You can leave that at home if you don't want to bring it. You can just wear a concert tee. A lot of people just do that. So don't feel pressured that you have to go crazy. It really is just come as you are. So
yeah, builds up each year, I guess. Look how you decorate for Christmas again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But it's obviously harder when you get really into the costumes, more planning, more packing, all that. But a lot of people just wear concert tees and jeans all week, and it's great. But there are some funny shirts. There's some really, really funny shirts. Like I saw one that it's Enrico Palazzo from The Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Remember that? So like you just see so many great random
Some
shirts.
deep cuts.
I love that. I love that shirt, man. Great shirt. It just warms your heart. So many great outfits.
I've got a shirt that says I picked the wrong week to quit snipping glue. So maybe I'll wear that one.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Go ahead and throw it in the suitcase. Set it aside.
Yeah.
So
Go
it's
ahead
ready.
and get ready now. Get ready now. Start packing.
Start packing.
Another funny thing that's popped up.
Else?
This is a new thing just the past several years is people who go on the boat produce swag for their deck. So let's say you're on the 6th floor of the boat, right? And it's the floors 1, 2, 3, it's like storage and things like that. But there's maybe like 5 floors for all the guest rooms, and they'll make swag for the whole deck and put it on your doors. It is crazy.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know. And they have these door decorating contests. We've never gotten into it, but people take the measurements of the doors and they produce full door decorations. You just walk the halls and look at doors, and people go all out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the door decorations really, these people this year bought I don't know if they won. I never knew who won, but I thought this was the most clever I have seen. And I appreciate it because we try to think of stuff and we never can. And we're pretty creative people. But they bought buttons that I guess you can record what it says when you hit the button. So you hit the button and it could be, I don't know. It'll just repeat whatever you record.
Mhm.
Well, they put them all over their door and they were all different movie quotes from the 80s.
Oh.
So you get something and it would be a very well-known, like, you don't sell yourself short. You're a tremendous slouch. Just,
Oh,
it was
Judge
just,
Nails.
Judge Nails, yes. It was just really, I thought that one was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we've never done.
Sometimes you just walk around, you just get a cocktail and walk around and look at all the door decors, just.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they'll put out
Like the bass player, not the bass player, could you imagine? The keyboard player for Jesse's Girls she's found this niche in her artistic world where she paints 80s album covers.
Oh.
And she's an incredible artist. She's very good. And she's just a rad chick. She's just a really cool human. And she this year donated like 4 pieces to Folds of Honor. So she was going to they were doing an auction, an art auction, and then all the proceeds went to Folds of Honor. And so you have a little art auction in the middle of all of this stuff. It's just really a diverse, just the game of life was taken away, Caroline. We didn't get to play that.
Oh my God. One year in the bar, they had a bunch of board games out and I love board games. So I said, guys, we're going to play the game of life. We're going to play the game of life. Okay. Tuesday at 3 p.m. We're meeting at the music video bar. We're going to play the game of life. And so last year it was such a fun afternoon activity. We got together like a group of us but they didn't have it this year. I was so disappointed, no, that's a great, I'm glad you brought that up. That's very cool that she does it. Her name's Carly Bloom, Carly with a K. So she takes commissions. So actually she's doing a couple
I
pieces.
commissioned 2 pieces already. So
she's
I commissioned Frank Sinatra. I kind of took it out of the 80s and commissioned an old Frank Sinatra album that was my mom's favorite. And she's painting that cover. And then David Lee Roth, Crazy from the Heat, where he's shirtless in the kitchen. So she's doing those for me, which it's neat. If anybody's interested, it is Carly Bloom Art on Instagram, but she gives you an all-inclusive price, and then it's the whole thing and all the shipping, everything, and then she sends you a little time-lapse video of it being painted for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a really neat process, and she's a cool guy. We got a chance to meet her boyfriend last year on the cruise. He was a fun guy. They're just good people. This is what I'm saying. That's the best part of the cruise, is you just end up meeting all these interesting people who have the same interest as you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at the bottom line. That's the coolest part.
And I'm always surprised by the number of folks that come from overseas. Like, it's not just folks from the United States, people from everywhere, a lot of Australians too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is really surprising. And it seems like the group is growing too. Every year there's new ones. It's not even the same. So it draws quite a crowd.
Where does it sail out of?
Well, that was trouble last year because it moved from Florida to Los Angeles. And, I understand that's quite a change. For us, because of our jobs, we just are in planes constantly. And one more hour in a plane, we couldn't even care any less. But I do understand a lot of our friends are East Coasters. So that's more going home, when you're just beat down and, you got to go 6 hours in a plane. But we didn't mind it. We actually really enjoyed it. It was very cool. It was unseasonably cool in LA. So the sail away party was like 60 degrees. I think that had some people beat up, bent out of shape a little bit, but it's back in Florida now. So it's out of Orlando. It's Port Canaveral, but you fly into Orlando and then it's like a 35-40 minute drive. Mm-hmm. We usually get a car, so you guys are welcome to hop in our car when you book your flight.
Well, my mom lives down there too, so
win-win. 2 birds, 1 stone. Wait, can't say that anymore.
Yeah, she lives like between
animal cruelty. Can't say
Yeah, she lives between Orlando and Daytona, so yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it's like not that far from.
She doesn't live in the what's that retirement home?
Oh no, all the
The villages?
villages.
She doesn't
Yeah,
live
no,
in the
no,
villages?
no. She has a regular house. Yeah, yeah. Oh, she listens to this and she loves you guys. So I told her we were podcasting. She's
Oh,
so
hi.
excited.
Join us, please join us. You're invited.
Yeah, there you go. There's your
Oh my God, she
We'll
loves
do a group
cruises.
costume. We'll do a group
plus
costume.
one. And then Dell, now we've got his wife with the Ramones, and we're all in.
I love it. We'll
We're all
whip together
set.
a
And trick
costume.
Dell, because I like to say it's now in February next year. It leaves on Leap Day. It leaves on the 29th.
Oh really?
Literally the latest February date possible. But I'm still saying it's if you love the 80s, you should experience it. It's just awesome.
Mhm.
Now I see your Indiana Jones poster. Are you psyched for the new Indiana Jones, Dal?
Yeah, the last one, I know a lot of people didn't like it. It was okay. I mean, it didn't bother me, but yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with this. So I don't know what the release date is, but I know it's soon. I saw the trailer during the Super Bowl and was super excited. So yep. So I'll be in the theater to see that, definitely.
I'm excited as well, and I'm going to take the release of the new film as the opportunity to show my nephew, who's 9, the first Indiana Jones. Now, I have not asked his parents about this because it might be a little scary, but
The last scene is gonna them.
he's a tough kid. Maybe I don't know, maybe we'll do
Think
some
Nick will be
blinders at the
fine.
last scene.
Well, I saw
Yeah,
I saw it when I was 10. Well, Del probably
Okay.
did too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a story. I have a quick story about that. So my daughter wanted to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. So of course, with that scene you just talked about with the faces, I said, okay, but at the end we're going to fast forward through that and whatever. So we get through that movie. She really liked it. And she's like, okay, well, I know there's more movies. Can we watch the next one? So okay, Temple of Doom is next. And then I'm thinking of the heart scene. You remember that one where I'm Nam Shivai. Yeah. So I tell her the kind of same thing. I said, okay, well, we're gonna have to fast forward through a scene, and she's like, okay, that's fine. So we turn the movie on. She loves Short Round. She loves the whole movie, and I get a phone call. I said, okay, I got to take this. I'll be just a minute. I'll be right back. So I take the phone call. I really get into the phone call. I don't know what it was about, but anyway, so I'm like, oh my gosh, she's still in there. I've been on this phone call longer than I expected. I got to go. I walk in, the heart's like right there,
nice.
like they're right on the scene. Yeah. So exactly. So I start flipping out. I mean, she was probably, I don't know, like 8 at the time or something like that. So I'm like trying to find the remote control to fast forward it. And she looks at me, she goes, Dad, I know it's not real. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. So we just continued
Relax,
on with
Dad.
the movie. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so yeah, I didn't scar my daughter from
more than you think. I just I don't want to be the one giving them nightmares. Then I'm in trouble.
Exactly. I probably scarred her in other ways, but I didn't scar her with the Indiana Jones movie. So it's all good. So
well, and speaking of Short Round, kudos to Short Round on Oscar.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just saw a couple of interviews with him, and the whole story just warms my heart so much. Like I just can't. I mean,
those pictures that were
basically languished, and
oh yeah, and the pictures that were going around with Harrison Ford and him on stage, like that was awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And
full circle reunion.
He won the Oscar. He said that Corey Feldman had called him, and the guy who played Chunk had called him. He actually was at the Oscars because he's a
lawyer, isn't he?
He's a lawyer. Yes, he is.
An agent as well. And so I guess he was at the Oscars, but he was saying in his in the press room, he was talking about how many people from Goonies had called him that day to wish him luck. And I'm like, it's just one of those things. Life gets hard sometimes and it gets rough. And to hear him talking about he couldn't get a job, and he started at the pinnacle, and then where do you go from there when you're 10?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just awesome to see him because he seems like such a nice man.
Yeah.
Although I feel bad because I haven't watched the movie.
I haven't either. It's on my list, but
I will.
Get ready for a roller coaster ride. It's crazy. Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I've seen it once. I need to go back and watch it again because there's just so much stuff going on. Like I kept looking. Yeah, I turned. We saw it in the theater, and I asked my daughter. I'm like, okay, explain what's happening. Okay, and then I'm like, they're on to something else. I'm like, okay, I'll get it later. And like, it is fast paced and it's just crazy.
It is called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think right now it's only on Showtime or something. So yes, that's one of the apps I don't have. One of the yeah.
Well, and Jamie Lee went in for that, really warmed my heart too. Like she's just can do no wrong in my book, and I'm being a horror movie person, and I just think she's neat.
Yeah, she's great in everything she does. So yeah, she's been waiting a while for this. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun year. All our 80s heroes got some kudos this year.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I bring it up like, and have you guys seen like the full trailer for the new Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones?
No,
because they had
a short one, not the full one.
Yeah, there's like a full one out there because they played it at the Star Wars Celebration a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, it looks incredible. So yeah, I don't know if it's, you guys probably feel the same way. It seems like ever since like Cobra Kai came out, it seems like everything that all the 80s stuff that they've been coming out with, they've been doing it justice. It's like a lot better than it used to be. Like I loved Maverick last year, but the Ghostbusters one that they just did. It seems like they're doing a lot of the 80s stuff right.
I agree. I thought both of Ghostbusters was very good. Maverick may be a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I thought that movie was so good.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been very pleased with the success of Cobra Kai. Karate Kid is one of my very favorite movies. And I was kind of early on the Cobra Kai train when no one was watching it. It was on YouTube Red.
On YouTube, yep.
Yep. I watched the first season in probably, in one stint. It was definitely in one evening. And I was like, holy shit. That was the best show I've ever seen in my life. They did that justice. I mean, it was perfect. It was so outstanding. And the seasons have ebbed and flowed, but it's a strong series overall.
One to come, right? There's one more.
Yeah,
one more, season 6. Yeah, and then I think I've heard they're going to do some spin-offs of characters. Maybe have you guys heard that?
No,
kind of
I
like
haven't.
Kind of like the Walking Dead concept of taking the characters and then giving them their own shows and movies and whatnot. So,
which characters will get their own spin-off?
I don't think they've said yet. So, yeah, we can speculate, but yeah, I don't think they've said for certain.
There's so many options. I hope. I don't know. I'm a Terry Silver fan. He is one of my very favorite 80s.
Really?
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, I love Kreese too, Sensei Kreese, but Terry Silver was just a phenomenal 80s villain. So I don't know. There's so many to choose from.
Yeah, let's see.
We've always recommended to the boat. I did it again this year. They send out a survey on the cruise and they say like theme nights, if you have any ideas. Every year I send in 80s like heroes versus villains. Because I mean, there are the 80s villain like Seth from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah,
with the suit smoking a dart in the high school. I mean, come on. You do not see that in today's society enough. And then he was bathrobe at his party. Just oh god.
It's funny. Before this call, I was actually just Googling James Spader because it was like, I am in need.
That's what she does on a Sunday afternoon.
I was just thinking, I'm in need of a James Spader Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not particular which day it is, but I need to back to back watch some James Spader movies. So it's long overdue.
Hey, I think we might be approaching a theme for the next podcast.
I was going to say, yeah. I had COVID several years back and I took advantage of that and had a Christian Slater Saturday. And I watched 6 of my favorite Christian Slater movies. Of course, it was hard to pick, but Sophie's Choice narrowed it down to 6. And I was just reading an article about the ranked best movies of James Spader. And I don't know that I agree with the order, but wasn't my article. But so yeah, it's long overdue. I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, I haven't seen that show, that it was to the Blacklist or something. I haven't seen
that. Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
I lost it. I did like the first 4 seasons and then I lost it.
Same. I didn't watch it all the way through, but it's good. Yeah, he's a good actor.
Well, Paul, keep 80s villain talk on the next
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
You know, I know it's getting late now, but I mean, I think Caroline and I both really wanted to say how much we missed you guys. I think it was really one of the most enjoyable things in COVID is to be able to just connect with you guys. And again, like we said, like-minded, and we have missed you terribly and would love to jump back on the train whenever you want us, because it's a fun part of our lives. We really do enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Yeah, we love having you guys. I feel like we have like so much great chemistry together, all of us. So yeah, so it's always a blast. You know.
Yeah, Paul, how many times did I email you and say we can't lose them? Like, we got to keep in touch with them. Do not lose them.
And it's our schedules. I know we get kind of dicey in the summer because we're everywhere, everything all at once. But you know, we'll get it scheduled eventually. We love chatting with you guys, and always look forward to the next opportunity to connect again. So
yeah, I'm all done with school now. My master's in creative writing. So
Congratulations.
Congrats. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you. But yeah, like a lot. My assignments, like my big assignments, are always due on Sunday night, so that kind of like would throw things off. And then I had stuff due on Thursday nights, and all the reading and homework in between. But now I'm done with that. Trying to get my writing career lifted off. I'm writing a memoir series. So yeah,
Awesome.
And my Journey of the Roadrunner podcast is going strong too. So yeah, so like a lot of good things. So I think it'll be good to get this going, because I know a lot of people love this podcast, so excited to get this thing going. So
yeah, definitely reach back out whenever you'll have us again. We would love to. If we're not at a festival or building a stage somewhere, we're in.
Speaking of which, have you considered like getting on board with the 80s cruise, like getting involved with that? Because I mean, you guys are really good. So, would that be too much? It would be too much.
It's such our respite. It is our sabbatical that we don't want to work. We want to go and we want to have a good time. We are interested, if they were interested in doing some kind of themed cruise, like a different, and getting involved in the production of themed cruises sounds really interesting. But for this particular thing, now to say that we aren't interested in still putting together some 80s festival, or whether it's on the sea, we still bat that around quite a bit. But at this point, we're a couple of years trying to get back on our feet from COVID. That was a tough time for a live events group, and as we do that, we're constantly thinking of what the next thing is. So stay tuned.
Okay. So you're gonna relegate yourselves to a flash mob on the 80s cruise. Get working on the next song.
Make a new division of Clock Tower where she's flash mobs.
Yeah. So I guess we can wrap things up. You want to tell people how they can contact you?
Absolutely. Well, and we need to get our company social media up and running, because we're not great about that. But 80s Rad Sab, we are still out there. Look for us, find us, talk to us.
Yep. All right, and then Del, you want to plug your awesome show?
Thanks. WEDM 80s at 8. So you can find us me on the weekends, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday for 4 hours of the 80s on the WEDM app, also the Radio Deck app and the Simple Radio app, or at www.wedmfm.com.
Awesome. And then, of course, you can find Return to the 80s at rtt80s.com. And then it's Return to the 80s on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that jazz. And Del's been keeping the website afloat with his Remember That song. So thank you for that.
I'm trying.
I like him.
Caroline, do you get many of them, or do you
Yeah. Oh,
do
I
you?
mean,
Okay,
I would say
okay.
85% of them. Like 15%, I'm like, no, I don't remember that because I was 3 and I didn't have control of the radio then. But most of them I get. Yeah.
Well, Paul does a nice job. Every once in a while, I'll throw one out there, and I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to know this one. He just takes it anyway and puts Deep Track at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you see Deep Track, that may be one that came out when you were 3. So
like I say, so even though like they're all like top 40 songs, they might be songs that weren't on there that long, and you don't hear on the radio these days, like on the all the 80s radio stations. Or
Well, you mean now the oldies stations is what they're called? I cannot get behind that. They're not oldies, they're 80s.
Well, I've been hearing them on the oldies for like about the past 10-15 years. Now the 90s people are getting into the oldies now too, so
so Paul, I told you I track what I send you every week, and now we're up to, I think, 1,000 songs that I've sent you over the years. So I'm running out of like popular songs, so we're going to have to recycle some of them, I think, that I haven't used in a few years. But yeah, that's you've kept me busy. You kept me busy over all these years.
Well, that's what happened to me.
Thank
I did it for years, but yeah, you can look for like other like ones that might be popular, but they weren't on like the top 40. There might be some R&B ones or even some rock ones that. But yeah, that's always a blast. And then even if you don't know the songs, check out the page, because then I'll play the video the next day, so you can get thrown back to some old videos you might not have seen in a while. You might learn some new old songs that you hadn't heard before. So enjoy. All right, people, take care. I'll see you next time. It's great to be back. Thank you for listening.
The80screws.com. We'll look for your booking.
Oh yeah, I should throw that in there too. Yeah, it's the 80screws.com.
Just for you.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to sell it out before we could sign up, right?
Exactly.
And they are like rapidly, the cabins are flying. A couple of cabin classes have already been sold, like fully sold out. So get them while they can.
You that face, yeah. All right, fellas, we'll see you next time.
Okay,
thank you so much, guys. Okay, and remember,
be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes!